For the sake of the story, my name is Paul. And like my name, I'm not very unique. I like cartoons, I watch TV, specifically The Loud House, but still, normal stuff. Although I do in fact have a life, no matter what they say, I'm an aspiring reporter-writer. I have a car, scrappy apartment, cushy job at a Woolies, anything I could possibly need. Look, I know this isn't very interesting stuff, but trust me when I say the writing is going somewhere. See, I've worked in retail for, I want to say a decade, but that's not the point. No, the point here is that you come across a lot of strange folks in that window of time. But the strangest guy came to my kiosk about a month ago, and I remember like a goddamn picture book. I was just scanning items, thanking people for shopping at Woolworths, not even bothering to look at their faces. My philosophy when going to work was to never waste time with small talk. The entrance exit is right next to me. I like to take advantage of that sooner rather than later. But that was until I saw a blank DVD cover slide underneath my scanner. So I looked up to ask this guy where the hell he got a blank DVD cover in Woolies, only to be trapped in shock and confusion. The guy managed to keep his dirty brown hair and beard relatively presentable, but his brown, torn, and dusty trench coat and pants, his bare, dirty toes, not so much. Same story for his gaunt, downtrodden expression. "What are you looking at?" the dirty man grumbled, grimacing at me with his surprisingly pearly whites. I was just wondering if this DVD was yours, or... "Give me that back!" the guy yelled as he snatched the blank DVD right out of my fingers, leaving a gross stickiness behind. "How did you swipe that from me biggest pocket?" I just shot him the same perplexed glare he gave me. I don't know, dude. You're asking me," I pleaded. "Yeah, sure. Sticky fingers," the man growled under his breath, making me chuckle nervously. I don't know what to tell you, man. I didn't rob you. Maybe it just fell out." "Shut up. You don't have nothing, so don't say nothing." All right. What's going on here?" My manager barged in, probably getting sick of watching the commotion via camera. "This kid's got sticky fingers, trying to swipe my prized possession." The man raised his prized possession high and mightily. "Is that right?" "Yeah," the man proclaimed as my manager scanned the dirty man head to literal toe. "Well, I don't know if you've skimmed over the dress code lately, but yeah, this ain't it, pal." My manager gestured over toward the dress code sign by the sliding door entrance, making his staunch demeanor evaporate into fright instantly. He stumbled for a reply initially, but the man managed. But this is the last place I can get stuff. Everyone else kicked me out. Please." "Hey, you can come back, just not like this," my manager clarified. "But this is all I have." "Well, then I guess you're not coming back for a long time, huh?" my manager concluded, making the man sag in defeat, carry himself out the door, not before shooting one more glare at me before trudging out. What a nut job, am I right? Anyway, next time you have trouble, I won't be there to fix it. Otherwise, keep up the good work, Paul. Thanks, sir." I chuckled nervously as the manager patted my back, going on his way, leaving me to my clouded thoughts as I stared slack-jawed at the sliding door entrance. Yeah, the guy was a little nutty, but not a nut job, although I wasn't quite sure. I'm not even certain why I'm telling you this, but there was one thing I was sure about. I needed this guy's story. "Sir, can I go on break?" "Did you have one already, Paul?" the manager quizzed. No." I smiled, raising my hands unsurely, making the manager purse his lips in thought for a moment. "All right, but if you aren't back in 30 minutes, I know, I'll be fired, sir." I dismissed, practically throwing myself out of the store, skulking the car park, and I managed to catch a strange man just about to leave. "Hey, I cried, making the man turn side to side in confusion, to which I groaned in frustration. Over here! I cried out, finally catching his full attention. You wanted me gone, now you want me back. You had your chance, sticky fingers. What? But I didn't. I just want to talk. I beckoned. The man stroked his beard for a moment before turning the corner, ushering me to follow, to which I was greeted by him lying on his back on a patch of walkway grass. So, sticky fingers. Okay, for the last goddamn time, I didn't steal that DVD, okay? So just stop calling me that, please. Only if you make up for getting me kicked out. That's still your fault, though. Fine then, Paul. If you're just gonna talk me shit, already know, then you fuck right off. I'll be out of your hair for good that way. The man bargained, making me glower as I turned back to the sliding door entrance just around the corner. And then I gazed back at the downtrodden before me, who brought out a lighter, but couldn't find a cigarette. So instead he pulled out his DVD cover, his solemn face reflecting off the cover. You really care about that thing, don't you? The man didn't answer, still coddling his DVD. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. Just a few more hours left. Stay here, whatever your name is? Joe. It's Joe, the man replied meekly. Oh, well, I'll come back later, Joe, I promise. I promised as I went back to work. After my shift, I kept my promise to the syllable, and luckily enough, so did Joe, greeting me with his glum face, which lit up just barely at the sight of me standing above him. You came back, Joe remarked cheerfully. I promised, didn't I? But anyways, now that I've got you right where I want you, I began, taking my seat next to Joe. What's your deal? Startling poor Joe. My deal? Yeah, you know, your DVD thing, your clothes, your weirdly clean teeth. All right. Settle down, kiddo. You want my story? I nodded in elation, making Joe chuckle. Well, you gotta do something for me first, Joe elaborated, making my elated smile dissipate into crippling worry. It's not like I can just hand out freebies here, you hear? Yeah, I hear, I grimaced. So what's the catch? I dared to ask, already regretting everything. Could you give me a ride home? Here's where the place is, Joe said as he pulled out a mint-condition photo of where he apparently lived, placing it into my hand before patting it down. Cocking my head to the side, I noticed that it had his address and phone number on it. Consider it me business card. Close to the end of our rather odorous drive. So you're telling me you worked for CN, but then jumped to Nick when shit hit the fan for you? No. I worked at Nickelodeon, but got the sack for being a bit too pushy with my ideas. At least that's what Chris Saakashino told me, right before stealing my ideas next time I turn on the television. Joe lambasted, putting me in a stupor of something. Jeez, you sure you're paying attention, sticky fingers? Now make a left turn. All right, but Chris Saakashino? Don't you mean Chris F... Stop! Joe screamed, pointing a filthy finger in my face, startling me so bad I nearly hit a roadside pole. Ratcheting my head around, I met Joe pointing at me with his snarling face. That's not his name, Joe uttered. But I will never under any reason say that name that way. Joe cut off, unfazed by nearly killing us both over a name. Although Joe did see the confusion on my face clear as day, apparently, thus flipping his demeanor completely as he shone his pearly smile at me. Even having the gall to laugh at me, much to my obvious chagrin. What's so funny? Sorry, it's just... I forgot to tell you why I hate that cunt's name. Besides him stealing me ideas from me and harassing the ladies with his roguish charm. Joe answered, making me raise an eyebrow. He stole your show? No.
I said he stole me ideas. Anyways, we're here now, so what's the matter?
Joe proclaimed, already getting out the car. Wait, are we?
Yeah, kid, take a look outside.
To his word, I stepped outside my car, but I wasn't completely sold. So, taking out his business card, I compared it to the apartment door in front of me. Turns out it was only slightly more dirty and run down than on the picture.
Well, looks like we're done here. It was nice knowing you, though, Paul, was it? Yeah, whatever. Keep the picture,
Joe declared as he made his way up the stingy apartment steps. But wait, Joe, I want to know more.
Give me a call tomorrow. I'm done with you and your fucking voice.
Joe called out before slipping by into the apartment, shutting the door on me. Pretty grateful, isn't he? Well, that's what I thought, too, as I began storming back into my car. Wait for Joe to pop back out one last time, storming out and into my face.
On second thought, take this. I don't want you to call me tomorrow,
Joe proclaimed, chucking that blank DVD cover at me, much to my shock. I picked it up reluctantly with my hand still holding his business card. Isn't this your prized possession or something?
It is. It's me best work. Supposed to be a standalone thing. But it's got some of the same characters, like Laurie, who's still the oldest, Luann and Lynn Jr. are buddies, Lana's the youngest at 6.
Wait, younger than Lisa?
Yeah, she's 13, same as the other 3. Anything else you wanted to annoy me about? Oh, and before I forget, they've all got varying English accents. Supposed to come from their mother who's from London. Oh, how I love London. Anyways, what else you want?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but aren't all those the ones named after his sisters? I asked smugly, expecting Joe to not take that question well. Instead, he paused for a moment, nodding slowly in agreement.
Yeah, they were named after him, huh? You know what, Paul? I think you just made me like the film way more,
Joe remarked deviously with his toothy grin. I was a little creeped out, but I tried not to show it. Well, thanks. You want me to give it back afterwards?
Nah, seen it too many times. However, there is a catch. You ain't allowed to redistribute it or do any pirating bullshit. Otherwise, not only you will be fucked, but I'll be fucked 10 times harder on top. You understand, Paul?
Shit. Well, I should have figured as much, to be honest. This whole disclaimer Joe gave is the reason I'm telling this story to you anyway. But Joe is right. I would be fucked if I showed actual footage of what his short film was. And that's ignoring Joe's history with Nick and, Chris sack of shit. Luckily, that guy is gone. But so long as Nickelodeon and Viacom are picking up his slack, I don't think the footage would last very long anyway.
Great. Now get out of here, kid. We're done here. For real this time. Oh, and give me that photo back.
Well, hey, you said I could have it. I yelped as he snatched the photo from my grasp.
Change my mind. Now scram. It's dangerous to be out here on Friday night.
And that was the last I ever heard of Joe before he vanished back into his apartment, leaving me with a dirty car, even dirtier DVD cover, and even more questions. But those questions could wait. I had a film to watch. Now, I obviously can't show any footage of the film that I saw. I could show you its cover. It's completely blank, nothing but the DVD inside and all the suspense in the world. I'll try to be as lush with the descriptions as possible, as I'd rather all the time spent studying this thing not go to waste. So, sorry if this retelling comes off a bit pretentious. The Black Figure, directed and produced by Joseph Kelly Howley. Once the introductory text dissipates, we fade out the darkness and into a view of the loud supposed proto-abode, as I'd like to call it. Not a toy or blade of grass in sight amidst the monolithic structure, resembling the newer version only in shape. The property was almost certainly untouched by anyone's hand, including Mother Nature's, like an empty coffin. A really expensive coffin. But it wasn't abandoned, just devoid of any life is all. Well, except for one nasally posh-sounding man answering an antique rotary phone blaring from inside the house. Sitting alone, feet up on the dining room table, admiring his lavish domicile phone line in one hand and a newspaper in the other. You've reached Dr. Bateman, sole proprietor of Bateman Healthcare. How can I help you today? The man answered astutely as he grinned as eerily as his thin black hair was greasy, though that grease didn't carry onto his black-gloved fingers or suit amazingly. Oh, Rita, dear, come crawling back to your old man? Bateman chuckled wickedly, glazing over the paper in his hand with glee. The New York Post, Sunday, October 17th, 1930. Unemployment on the rise by 20% globally, and there's no roof in sight. Of course, I'd be glad to take them off your hands for good, just so you could get back on your feet. It's a dog-eat-dog world, sweetie. I, of all people, should know that. Bateman replied in a hushed tone. All the while we got a nice view of the dining room's large and imposing bookshelf, and a framed newspaper article obscured by the bookshelf just enough to know it was about some kind of house fire, and a few casualties go along with it. Yes, I understand. Yes, I'm not just saying that either. Bateman groaned, going stiff at the sound of someone pulling by his house. Call me back later. Oh, and maybe not on the business line next time. Thanks. Bateman hung up abruptly, not even waiting for Rita to finish whatever she was about to say. Regardless, he darted out the dining room and stopped by the front door, peering through its peephole. A look of curiosity plastered on his bulging-eyed face, morphing into that of morbid delight at the sight of his lovely grandkids, presumably. Here already now? Oh, I'd better get ready then, too. Bateman laughed. Didn't even open his mouth, just staring out with his immovable grin. Cutting away to the house's lawn, we finally get to see the proto-louds, with Lynn being the first one out, standing stoic and proud with the same #1 sports jersey, bearing the dumbest smile I'd ever seen. However, when she began scanning the place from the tip of the roof down to the creaky hanging sign reading Dr. Bateman's health insurance, followed by a phone number underneath. Laurie, are you sure this is the place? Lynn inquired unsurely. Yeah, it's huge. I bet Grandpa's got the kickball somewhere around here. Len interjected, bounding out of the van and by Len's side. Yeah, you could get really lost, really easy, Lana uttered meekly, moseying around the front of the van, latching onto Laurie's side like a koala. Oh, I wouldn't dare worry about that. Not when I'm with my little koala bear. Laurie cuddled as she squeezed Lana with all her might. Tight. Too tight, Lana wheezed. Huh? Oh, my! Laurie gasped, letting Lana free upon noticing her turn face red. There, all better now, Lana just groaned in response. Anyways, yes, Lynn, this is in fact the place, no matter how poor the presentation. But anyways, where are your bags, everyone? Cutting a cacophony of grunting, Lisa revealed herself carrying everyone's luggage. Here, everyone. Your burdens. Lisa heaved out before collapsing underneath all the weight, much to everyone's astonishment. Well, what is everyone gawking at? Come on, get to them burdens, Laurie instructed, with everyone getting their bags, allowing Lisa to stumble back onto her feet, adjusting her glasses as she dusted herself off. Much appreciated. I was wondering when someone would... Lisa stopped, taking in the domicile in all its restrained glory, especially the ragged business sign. Dr. Bateman? Didn't Mother say he was a snake oil salesman? Lisa queried, offending Laurie. No, Grandfather isn't some lowly snake oil salesman. He's a doctor, and the man responsible for giving Mother a job amidst all this mess. So be nice, everyone. Anyhow, what are we standing around for? Let's get a move on. Now that's something I can get behind, Race it to the front door, Lynn, Lynn declares, shoving past Lynn amidst her head start, giggling all the way, too. Although Lynn wasn't as headstrong about it. Yeah, don't wait up or anything. Lynn hummed wistfully as all her sisters brushed past, except for little koala bear Lana standing by Lynn, looking at her longingly. At first, Lynn was confused about what Lana wanted. It was only when Lana raised her arms out beckoningly did Lynn finally piece it all together, lifting Lana off her feet and planting her onto her shoulders. Don't get used to this, yeah? I won't promise, Lana promised, two smiling cheerfully as they met up with their fellow sisters. Inside the house, we see Bateman grooming himself by a mirror in the bathroom, adjusting his black vest and tie and checking the time with a gold chain pocket watch he pulled out his vest, jumping out of his skin at the barrage of doorbell rings assaulting his ears. I'm coming! I'm coming! Impatient lot! Bateman murmured to himself as he hurried down out of the bathroom, making sure to grab the ebony cane he left by the sink. Outside, we see Luann impatiently ringing the bell, much to everyone's visible annoyance. You only need to do it once, Luann, Laurie pointed out agitatedly. Well, maybe he can't hear it just the one time. He is a grandpa. Have you perhaps considered just standing there and waiting, so we don't get yelled at? Lisa urged. Maybe you could try hitting the door instead, Lynn suggested with a sly grin, much to Lisa and Laurie's horror and Lana's entertainment. Oh no, Luann! Don't you dare think about doing... Hey, that's a great idea, Lynn. I'll put the bags back in the van, Lisa insisted as Luann readied her fist. Before that could happen, Bateman swung the door wide open, catching Luann's fist mid-swing by the wrist. That's enough, Bateman uttered, his demeanor scaring the loud stiff. Even Luann's cherry demeanor wavered, just a smidge. Hi, Mr. My name is Mr. Bateman, Dr. Bateman, or just Doctor. Take a pick, spawn. I know. I saw the sign, sir. Can you give me my hand back, please? Lan reasoned with a desperate smile as she attempted to free herself, but his titanium grip didn't budge, not even by a smidge. Eventually, though, he did let go, throwing her hand back to her so hard she nearly fell to the ground, being saved by Laurie, luckily. So sorry about Luann. She hasn't had much to do in a good while. You know how rowdy kids can be. Laurie smiled, but Bateman didn't seem too impressed. Flattery will get you nowhere. What are your names? I'm Laurie, the oldest out of everyone. Lynn, Lisa, and Luann are all the same age and can be quite the handful, as you can see. Laurie elaborated, gesturing toward them. Both greeted Bateman reluctantly. So I've seen, Bateman remarked. Of course. Well, we also have the always resourceful Lisa. She's top of every class in her school, Laurie boasted, gesturing toward Lisa. Thank you, Laurie, although that compliment won't mean much when I graduate in a few months, Lisa professed, stepping forward to shake Bateman's hand. Impressive, very impressive indeed, Bateman admitted in somewhat disbelief. But that thought didn't linger too long, as someone riding on Lynn's back caught his wandering eye. And who might this one be? Bateman questioned with a warm smile, pointing his cane at Lana, making Lana scramble off Lynn, cowering behind her valiant shield. She doesn't like me very much, it seems, Bateman pointed out, tilting his head to find Lana toiling to evade his gaze. You simply must forgive Lana. She's just so terribly afraid of meeting new people, Laurie answered pitifully. Oh, that'll fade, my dear. It always does, Bateman chuckled mischievously. Ho, 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 ho. Now, let me show you to your rooms. That's exactly what he did next scene, with Bateman walking them up the stairs into the hallway, which was the exact same layout as the proper show. Laurie living in her room, Lisa living in hers, and Lan living in hers, etc., etc. Of course, the main difference here being the absence of the rest of the family, and the closet down the hall remaining unoccupied as a result. But after showing them their quarters, Bateman neglected to tell where he slept, something that everyone noticed but didn't dare ask out of fear of setting him off somehow. But they couldn't help wondering, no matter how much Bateman outright demanded them not to ask. From light to dark, night befalls the house of Bateman estate with text that reads, "One night later." We bear witness to an empty, lifeless, dim stairway, of which the cameraman scales the stairs without missing a step, stopping at the very top, where we could hear gentle yet heavy breathing, and it's not coming from any of the rooms the Louds are sleeping in. The cameraman then scampers against the wall, pressing along slowly but swiftly, all the way to Lana's room, where a gentle yellow light is emanating from underneath. The cameraman then collapses to the ground, peering underneath the door as the cameraman audibly squeezes underneath the crack to get a better look. Skulking Laurie reading a book while sitting by Lana huddled underneath a blanket accompanied by a yellow lamplight. When they went back upstairs, Grandma and Grandpa were up. "Is everything all right?" asked Grandma. "It is now," said Papa Bear. "Good," said Grandpa. "Let's all have some—" "What?" Lana asked with a cheeky grin. "Milk and cookies. Come on, Lana dear. Why do you have to make me read everything?" "Well, 'cause I like it better when you do it. Also, can I have milk and cookies?" Lana questioned, making the cameraman slip out of the crack with a sickening cacophony of slurp. Darting from left to right for a way out, only to crawl up the wall and onto the ceiling watching the door, all just in time to hear Laurie say, "No, Lana, look, I've given you your bedtime story. I've given you your many blankets and... now it's time for bed, young lady," Laurie reinforced, the thought of Laurie leaving Lana starting to scare her. But what about the bedtime snack? I can't go to bed without a bedtime snack. Please. "Maybe in the morning," Laurie brushed off, kissing Lana on the forehead as she turned out the lamplight. Unaware of Lana's dismay. "Pretty please." "No, Lana. Good night." "Pretty please with a cherry on top." I won't ask again. Promise." "Oh, all right, but only for my littlest koala bear," Laurie relented, venturing outside the room, completely oblivious to the cameraman directly above the doorway as she tiptoed down the stairs. All the while, that breathing came back. Not that it ever left. No, it just got much, much worse once it saw Laurie leave Lana's room unprotected. Oh, oh no. Well, pressing onward, the cameraman just sits there lingering on the wall like a gigantic cockroach. But unlike a cockroach, the cameraman began to whisper something.
I can't take it. I can't take sitting here waiting for a second longer."
The cameraman murmured raspily, continuing to breathe their monstrous moist breaths. As they began scaling down the doorway, making sure to keep on the edge so as not to be spotted presumably. Slowly but methodically, the cameraman kept to every shadow, all the while Lana sat petrified in fright, although it at first wasn't a rational fright. But as the cameraman crept under every piece of furniture in the room, Lana felt something go bump underneath her bed. Lana didn't dare move, instead staying right there, where the monster couldn't get her. Underneath the covers, of course. But unfortunately for her, that was the worst possible thing she could have done, as a long, sickly hand stretched out, pinching a piece of blanket, gently peeling away every layer of protection Lana had, as the cameraman's eyes silently rose over her bedside, optic nerves and all. Lana screamed at the absolute highest of heavens as the cameraman's hands swung out from underneath the bed, both snatching her and covering her mouth as she kept crying the bloodiest of murders she could while muffled. By now the cameraman had long since woken up the entire house with his commotion. So the creature clambered out of the room as fast as possible, only to be cornered by the still half-asleep Lynn, Luann, and Lisa. All they knew was that something really big and scary just kidnapped Lana, whose face was absolutely drenched in frightful tears. Unfortunately for them, though, the cameraman was much too swift to stick around. Leaping from the top steps down to the very bottom in one swift movement, the other three sisters just quickly trailed behind as the cameraman dashed through the sitting room, colliding with the beyond flabbergasted Laurie, sending her flying into the edge of the dining table, smashing the table's leg in two from the force. "Laurie!" the remaining sisters cried, rushing to Laurie's aid, all while the creature made its escape behind the dining room bookshelf, disappearing. "Are you all right? How many fingers am I holding up?" Lan cried, forgetting to raise any fingers as she kept shaking Laurie to wake up. "Never mind her. Lana needs us right now. Show me where that thing went so I can pummel it to the ground." "I believe it went this way," Lisa informed, pointing toward the pitch-black abyss that lay behind the bookshelf. "Great! Now let's go!" Lynn began, ready to plunge herself headfirst into the abyss, only to be stopped. "Lynn, wait!" Laurie hollered in fright as she caught Lynn by the ankle, tripping her over. "Ow! What gives?" "Look, I admire your courage, sis. You can't just rush in there. You'll be eaten alive. And then what?" Laurie explained, making her sag in woe. I don't know. Exactly. Now, does anyone have any ideas? Lisa? Luann? Well, a light source of some kind would be a good start, Lisa suggested. Like a flashlight? Lynn added. Why, yes, that would be perfect, provided you can find one, of course. I'll go scrounge around for one. It's gotta be in someone's bag, Lynn declared, dashing off and up the stairs. I'll try to do something too, Lisa added. Yeah, and find a weapon or something too, Lan also added, humming to herself in thought, scanning the dining room and its many features. Is someone going to help me? My back feels much too raw, Laurie ached. Oh, my apologies. Take it easy for now, though, will you? Lisa apologized as she helped Laurie up, throwing her arm around Lisa, revealing to Luann the broken table leg Laurie made. Thank you, Lisa. I find I can always count on you in times of trouble. Any luck there, Luann? I'm thinking, Luann revealed, visibly shocking Laurie and Lisa. Luann? Thinking? As if tonight couldn't get any stranger, Lisa admitted. Indeed, but speaking of things that are strange, where the bloody hell is Bateman? And more to the point, why didn't he tell us about this? Do you two mind? I said I was thinking, didn't I? Jeez, Lan chastised, stopping the bickering right in its tracks as Lan continued thinking, darting her eyes from the broken table leg to the kitchen, then back at the two impatient sisters in front of her. Till just like that, it all clicked in her head. Well, a good amount anyway. Moseying over to the broken leg, she picked it up, looking around for something, which conveniently was the very moment Lynn came back. Sorry, everyone. No flashlights, no lamps, no candles, nothing, Lynn informed tiresomely, pausing at everyone staring at her, especially Lynn. What? It's not that big of a deal there aren't any lights around, right? Lynn walked right up to Lynn, broken leg in hand, before raising her hand out. Give me your singlet, Luann commanded, much to Lynn's confusion. Right now? No, I want it next leap year. Yes, right now. All right. It's my sweat you're dealing with, though, Lynn exclaimed, reaching underneath her shirt and pulling out a beyond drenched undershirt. Handing it over to Luann, who wrapped it around the top end of the broken leg before running off into the kitchen, shoving Lisa and Laurie out the way. Ouch! Laurie bellowed. Watch it, Luann. I've got a patient here. Sorry, Laurie, but I need to do this, Lan dismissed, swinging her gaze left to right, landing on a hot plate seated by a kitchen sink. Bingo, Lan murmured with a smirk, rushing off toward the hot plate, turning it all the way to the maximum heat, placing Lynn's singlet on top of the hot plate, resulting in a beyond abhorrent stench flooding the room as Lori, Lisa, and Lynn all came into the kitchen, with Lori and Lisa covering their noses and gagging on the sizzling sweat vapors, much to Lynn's slight offense, taking a sniff of the air herself, only to reel from it too. But the gagging soon stopped, as all of a sudden the sweaty rag blazed asunder, much to Lynn's pride raising the makeshift torch high and mightily. "I've made fire!" "Ha ha ha!" Lynn cackled. "Well, how about that? Way to go, sis!" Lynn congratulated. "My thoughts exactly. Although, was it necessary to use Lynn's sweaty singlet? Yes, it was. Now let's get some goddamn answers." "Smashing. Now let's..." "Ugh!" Lori howled, collapsing onto Lisa, who was able to carry the weight, luckily, setting Lori carefully onto a nearby dining chair. "I think it's best if you stay here, Lori, where it's safe," Lisa insisted. "What? But Oh, phooey. Suppose I just slow everyone down, Lori concluded glumly. "I'm afraid so," Lisa reassured just as glumly. "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll be back with Lana in a pinch, right, Lynn?" "For sure," Lynn reassured, all this making Lori crack a weak smile. "All right, then. Godspeed, everyone," Lori cheered, her hopeful demeanor vanishing as soon as everyone left. If Gold would be so willing anyway. If only Mother was here. She'd know what to do. And so the remaining sisters journeyed towards the maw of the abyss. Lance shown the way down, revealing it to be a secret and winding passage, or to be more specific, a deep and dark winding stairwell, making Lance's stomach churn the longer she stared, ignoring the fact a monster could pop out at any moment's notice. Hello?" Lan whimpered, her voice carrying on the stairwell all the way down. "What's the holdup? It's just stairs," Lynn interrogated impatiently. "I'd hate to rush you, Luann, but, what is the holdup?" Lisa added. "Well, you go first, Lynn. Here," Lan insisted, shoving the torch into Lynn's face before quickly scooting toward the very end of the line. Lynn just shrugged her shoulders, taking the plunge into the murky, winding abyss, an abyss that they thought would never end, a thought that weighed heavier as time marched, unflinching, making the trio's minds wander through bleaker and unbearable, horrible temptations of what could possibly be at the end. But none of that compared to the sudden realization that crossed Luann's mind. "Hey, Lisa, do you remember what Laurie said about Bateman? About him being missing in action?" "Of course I remember. Why, I'd say the thoughts never left." "Yeah, unlike Mr. Bateman," Lynn scoffed, her words taking the air right out of Lynn and Lisa's chest, as if a demon walked right past them. "Luann, sis, surely you don't mean that?" "Oh, don't be stupid. Who else could it be? But that's not all." It's not?" Lisa stammered through her trembling breath. "No." Luann paused, averting her face to the wall, bracing herself for what was next. "Well, what I mean is that he is a grandpa, our grandpa, and therefore Mum's dad's, so..." "We know. Just spit it out," Lynn pressed anxiously. "Well, that's just it. What if she's in on all this? Well, what if she's a monster too? She's just biding her time or something. I don't know. I don't..." "Luann!" Lisa cried, darting her eyes around as she toiled for the right words. I mean, for if that were true, why would she send us away?" Lisa answered, with Lynn nodding anxiously in response. "Yeah, see? Worrying for nothing." "Well, I wouldn't say that, Lynn, but for now, let's just move on, shall we?" I thought you'd never ask, Lynn replied in false bravado, doing her best to fill the freshly dug hole Luann's epiphany made. Pressing forward, she could see flecks of light and a noise from below growing louder. Lynn's brow furrowed, determination of filling the hole Luann's fears dug, making Lynn speed down the hallway. Soon enough, they reached the end of the passage. An aged, lumbering birchwood door emanating a sickly amber light, the only color in this entire short so far, shone through its iron-barred window. And through it, the noise from before became much clearer than before. Help! Help me! Please! Lana's voice rang out, simultaneously relieving the trio and terrifying them. But regardless of their fears, they knew what they needed to do. None more so than Lynn at that moment, Lynn giving her torch over to Luann as she ready to bust through the door. Expecting to make the heroic entrance and save Lana once and for all. And yes, Lana was there, sitting alone on an unmade king-size bed. But she was still crying profusely, her head buried into the palms of her hands. With the lantern responsible for the glow emanating outside the door, hanging above Lana by a meat hook? One of many very sharp meat hooks hanging all around the room, around the trio's shoulder height. After absorbing the ambience, the trio approached Lana, sitting around her on the bed, everyone doing their part to comfort Lana, with Lynn and Lana cuddling her affectionately as Lisa watched from afar, unable to join in whilst holding the torch. Shh! It's okay. Lynn's here. We're all here for you, and we're gonna get you out of here, all right? Lynn promised as she cooed. Yeah, and we'll get yummy ice cream, Luann also promised. But Lana just pushed them both away forcefully, furling up into a little ball of misery. Is seeing us here a good thing? Lisa inquired. No. Lana sniveled, shocking the trio, especially Luann. But why? Don't you want to go? Here, Lana. Lana offered her a handkerchief, to which Lana slapped out of Luann's hand furiously. Of course I want to go. I hate it here. But now we're stuck here because Mom hates us, Lana revealed, deeply concerning the trio, especially Lynn, when recalling Luann's fears about her. Who told you that?
I did.
Bateman boomed, closing the wooden door the trio entered. Stepping out of the dark corner he hid in, revealing his freakish self. He stood just as tall as ever, only completely naked. His disgusting black hairs littering his chest and legs serving as the only means of coverage, right down to his gangrene toes and curly yellow toenails. But they didn't grow on the rest of his scrawny skeletal body, not his arms, not his neck, just his chest, legs, and whatever else was left upon his rigid skull, housing his extended eyes, snaking and slithering in the air. Oh my! What a lovely get-together we have here, Bateman greeted, grinning a gruesome grin and wriggling his six-fingered hands eagerly. Stay back! Back, I say! Lisa commanded as she waved the torch in his face, all the while instinctually backing further and further away alongside her fellow sisters, making Bateman chuckle darkly. Or what? Please, if anything, I'm doing your mother a favor, you know, Bateman began, making Lisa pause. A favor? Yes, a favor. Ever since Laurie came, I knew your mother would get greedy, and that I would have to deal with her consequences. Consequences? We're not consequences, Lisa detested. Yeah, she raised Laurie just fine, like the rest of us, Lynn added ferociously. And she loves us all very much, yeah, Lynn also added, though a bit reluctantly. At first,
But once all her money dried up, she didn't know what to do with you lot. So on she goes crawling back to me. Do you see what I'm getting at here?
Bateman further elaborated as he drew closer, his revelation shocking Lynn and Lisa to their soft, supple cores.
That's preposterous. She wouldn't do that. Never.
Lisa denied, backing further and further away, with Bateman drawing ever nearer, getting them into a corner.
Oh, come on. Do I have to spell out now? You're all tumors, and I'm a doctor, and your mother wanted an operation to have her financial tumors removed. Do you miserable, wretched rats understand? Give me the torch, Lisa,
Lynn whispered, to which Lisa obliged, as Bateman pressed onward, too wrapped up in himself to notice the sudden exchange.
I can prove it, too. I can prove to you all that your mother left you to die. No, Lana can tell everyone, can't you, little tasty koala bear?
Bateman cackled, making Lana begin to break down all over again, making Bateman chortle in glee, laying the final straw on Lynn's back as she raised her torch.
Tell you what, little wretch, if you can admit to everyone what was said over the phone, I might just...
Lynn struck Bateman right across his face with the torch, bursting both his extended eyes, sending Bateman swinging around the room, clutching his now burning optic nerves in agony as he cascaded around the room. Burning blood spattered the room as he toiled to tide the pain, only to be caught by several meat hooks. The chains wrapped around his arms and chest, locking him in place as he felt the fire spread from his exposed nerves all across his face.
My eyelids! It's under my eyelids!
Bateman roared in bestial, primal agony, all the while ripping himself apart as he kept fruitlessly toiling to break out of his meat hook bindings. All while the group just watched, except for Lana, who had her eyes covered by Luann, smitten by the spectacle of it all as Bateman writhed, watching the fire completely engulf his skinless head, and then eventually the rest of his hair, pale body, spittles of both burning and fresh blood spattering all over the room. Lynn walked around to find the torch responsible, picking it up as she turned back to Bateman's suffering. Her brows narrowed, hatred brimming with her every fiber. Hatred so potent it made everyone turn to look at Lynn instead and what she did next. Only for Lisa to grab Lynn's arm, her fiery gaze snapping to Lisa, averting the torch away from Bateman's writhing body. Leave him. His demons are much better at that than you, Lynn, Lisa reasoned, making Lynn pause in thought, but one look back at Bateman's hideous form told her everything. Better not to keep them waiting, then. Lynn waltzed over to Bateman, torch in hand, his bellowing cries cutting away as the scene cut to the house. The same shot from the very beginning, in fact. Only, of course, Laurie was where Bateman sat, waiting anxiously, tapping her hand on the table repeatedly to stave off the worry, but it didn't really seem to do much. Fortunately for her, many pairs of footsteps were heard approaching, a warm yellow light getting brighter and brighter. Much like Laurie's ever-growing smile, expecting to see all her fresh-faced sisters bright and jolly again, just like when they first arrived. But no. Hauling themselves out the abyss came Lynn, Luann, Lisa, and Lana, in that order. What happened? Laurie sputtered, frightened by the display. Bateman happened, Lynn answered bitterly, taking his seat on the table, opposite to Laurie, bearing the same dour expression her other sisters wore. Oh, Laurie uttered, quickly placing it all together from there. So that thing was Bateman, Laurie mumbled, the sisters nodding lazily in response, making Laurie's frown deepen. Did Mother know about this? Who do you think made the coal? Luann asked bitterly, Laurie's eyes widening in shock, only for the shock to wink back to the same fearful frown as everyone else. We can never go back home. Ever. Lana spat, filling the room with deafening silence right afterward. So, what do we do? Lisa uttered, pitifully so. Leaving Laurie's mouth agape for an answer, all that would come out was fearful, dreadful, heart-aching breaths. The final few words spoken came after that final shot, the same shot the short began on, only accompanied by nothing but screaming silence. I don't know.